Okay, so we are back live and we will take a vote to go out of executive session and back to regular session.
So moved.
I heard it.
Yeah,
Everybody.
we'll take a motion from Mr. Cook and a second from Mrs. Eggleston.
Okay. All right, so let's see here. Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Hopkins is absent now. Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Mr. Cobb,
Yes.
try to rejoin. Casey, can you send a new link to Mr. Cobb?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Cobb, we'll get you a new link, okay?
okay, well, Mr. Cobb. He'll be
Yeah,
joining
Mr.
us shortly.
He's
And,
trying to,
who else do I need?
Me.
Councilwoman Eggleston, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can we wait a minute for Mr. Cobb to get back in?
yeah, we'll wait a second. We're having some technical problems for any of those watching.
Oh, I'm not the host. I can't see who's in the waiting room.
You're the host now, Randy.
Did you send him out a new link, Casey?
Yep.
Because he's probably getting the same meeting and current meeting or regular, there's already meeting and session thing. Okay, I don't have anything from him.
We'll go ahead and move forward.
Mr. Mayor, that is up to you, sir.
I think we'll just have to go ahead and move forward. I mean, we're pretty much to the end.
Okay.
So we are back in regular session, correct?
Correct, it was accepted 5-0.
Okay. So for those who are watching, we are trying to wait for Mr. Cobb to join. So hopefully he'll pop back up here shortly. Mr. Grimm, I believe you said you had some questions or comments.
Well, first I would move to excuse Ms. Hopkins.
Thank you.
Second. A second from Mr. Cook.
Cook, all right. Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Hopkins, Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski.
Yes.
Cobb is not on yet.
No, I sent him a new link.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Councilwoman Eggleston
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Cook.
Yes.
All right, that motion's accepted 5-0.
In the event that Mr. Cobb cannot get back in, should you guys excuse him from the last part of the meeting? I don't know if that needs to be done or not.
Probably just to cover our
We can.
bases. So we'll let Dale go if he's got some things, and then we can do it after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Grimm?
Okay. Well, the state of Ohio and city of New Carlisle have been under a state of emergency for over a month. In that time, business has been closed and our residents have been told to stay home. The state of emergency has had a detrimental effect on both the mental health and economic health of our residents and our businesses. We don't have much business activity in our city, but the vast majority that we have are mom and pop shops. That means they are owned and operated by our friends and neighbors. Many of the businesses that have not been allowed to open have been placed in a precarious situation. They are not allowed to generate revenue, but they still have their expenses. They have their rent or their mortgage, they have their utilities, they have their insurance, and they have other fixed business expenses, particular to their line of business. Several of them have stated if they can't open soon, they will not open again and may be forced into bankruptcy. The permanent closing of these businesses would have a negative effect on our city and our residents. The Chinese virus is not living up to expectations. Most people are surviving, or more people are surviving the virus than are succumbing to it. Hospitals who are supposed to be overrun with virus patients are empty and laying off staff. And there is strong evidence to suggest that the deaths reported as a result of the virus are greatly exaggerated. I believe that all businesses in our city are essential businesses, not only to our friends and neighbors, but also to those who own and operate it. I believe we should not impair our neighbors who are not only living the American dream, but also trying to feed their families and provide support for their employees. Under the state's guidelines, someone can buy an item at a major retailer outside of the city, but not buy it from a local shop, the same item. I find this grossly unfair to the small businessman. If someone can be safe shopping at Walmart or Target, they can be just as safe shopping at Abe's or Sugar Shelf or any of our other local businesses. Unlike our governor, I have faith in our residents that they have the ability to decide if they feel safe patronizing a business. We're not 2-year-olds. We don't need mommy and daddy's hand walking across the street. I would therefore like to see this council quickly draft and pass this in special session an ordinance ending the state of emergency and declaring all businesses within the city of New Carlisle as essential businesses, allowing them to reopen, employing whatever safety measures they deem necessary and essential for their line of business. If a motion is necessary to begin this process, then I make that motion.
I'll second it.
You guys will still be under the state guidelines. It doesn't matter if New Carlisle raises the state of emergency or not. The state of Ohio still trumps us.
Well, there are four things.
Unfortunately, the state of emergency has to be lifted by after discussion with me and the mayor as the state of emergency was passed this council. That the state of emergency would be lifted at a time when deemed appropriate after when the mayor and the city manager do discuss it. But even though say you guys we lift it, they're still going to be required to close because the state is mandating, and the health department will still come in here and ask them to shut down. But it's not like if we lift the state of emergency, then all of a sudden they can be open free of Scott. That's not how it works.
Well, there's four things you have to look at.
Mhm.
Number one, is the order legal? Number two, does science back it up? Number three, does it usurp our home rule authority? And number four, is it discriminatory? Number one, it may or may not be legal. Number two, the science definitely does not support it. Number three, yes, it does usurp our home rule authority. And number four, yes, it is extremely discriminatory. It is very advantageous for the major retailers and very discriminatory against local shops. And that I find appalling.
But yeah, I mean, because just like you said, everything that they're selling at Walmart or any of those other box stores, like, I mean, you said it, they sell it here at the stores in New Carlisle. So what's the difference?
Yep.
I had one of the, I won't say who, I had one of the store owners call me and ask me last week. He said, "Can I open up?" He said, Walmart's open. They sell the same thing I sell. And just my opinion, not legal, just my opinion. I said, if it was my business, I would open up because, I mean, you nailed it, Dale. It's they're doing more harm than good when they could really make it work for everybody if they wanted.
I saw a report that Project Woman has had an increase in calls for shelters.
And what we're also seeing too, with the people who are defying new orders, no one's showing up. I mean, I think people are starting to make a statement saying, I'm going to open my business, but no one's going to them. So unfortunately, I don't agree with lifting the state of emergency because it's going to do no good. People are still going to open, whether there's a state of emergency in the city of New Carlisle or not. We guys lifted, the state of Ohio is still going to mandate our health department to come in the city and shut them down. And they're going to go to the mayor. They're not going to come to me. They're going to go to the mayor. And it may cause problems like that. Now, I agree with what you're saying. I truly do, because we're doing landscaping at the house. And I've been to Menards, Home Depot, and it's been packed. Absolutely just packed. But yet I have a friend who's a personal trainer. His wife is a beautician. They haven't had an income in a month and a half because for some way it's okay for people to go to Menards and be packed in there like sardines, but it's not okay for someone to go and get their hair cut. So I understand that 100%. But unfortunately, the state still does have some guidance, because once it's something that maybe we should have Jake look into to find out any kind of legal ramifications that can be done if we just lift it and say, you guys can open up, because I don't want to put the city in any kind of jeopardy with the state of Ohio. And our governor's been very adamant about following the rules. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to put us in a situation now we have to answer to the state of Ohio about why we did what we did. But that's just my opinion.
Because people are hurting seriously.
People are struggling. I mean, that is a very true fact. And
I know of
my
two
opinion is it wasn't handled right with closing of these stores, all or nothing. I know in other states, if you're going to Menards or Home Depot, and it's closed to the general public, but it's open for contractors, so they need a work order to go in there and get the stuff they need. If they're going to allow Menards to be open and they close all the restaurants, why couldn't they just do restaurants have to do 50% capacity and they have a table where every other table? I'm right there with you. I just don't know what kind of legal ramifications we would have, if any, if council were to go through with what you said. So if you don't mind, Mr. Grimm, and I support your calls, maybe we ask Jake what we can do. And then I don't know if it's going to take him a couple of days to look into it, but maybe we'll have some information for the meeting we'll have Wednesday or Thursday, and I can present it on the council. But right now, how that state emergency reads is that it has to be lifted through after me and the mayor talk about it. And if I'm going to put my name on it, I want to make sure that we are doing it right. And I'm not going to be reprimanded, or Mike's not going to be reprimanded, or the city's not going to be reprimanded. That's just my professional 2 cents.
Yeah. And when you start reading and talking, Dale, I 110% agree with you. But the first thing I thought was, I wish Jake was here, because I would like to hear from him before we were to make a decision and hurt ourselves or the city any further than what's already been hurt. So, I mean, I don't know how quick it would take Jake to get an answer in a day or so, hopefully. But, I mean, if he could come up with something by Thursday, I'd be all for it.
Mr. Grimm, do you mind if I ask Jake if he can get some information to you in a timely manner?
That would be part of drafting it, wouldn't it?
Sure. Well, here's the thing. I'll be honest. I mean, we have to really we have to go back and see exactly what the state of emergency says. I mean, there's specific ways that state of emergency has to be lifted based off what council approved when we actually put it in place. So I don't know if it's just a matter of me telling the mayor just to lift it. I don't know. That's why we should get Jake involved before we make any kind of those decisions. To answer your question, sir, yes, if it involves drafting legislation, we'll have to have that ready to go for you on Thursday or Friday as well. There's no point of having to talk about it and then waiting to the 18th to do the legislation. Does that make sense? We might as well do it now. I mean, heck, if we wait till the 18th, they might be allowed to open back up with certain limitations. But as far as the state order is in place, it doesn't matter what we do. They still have to follow the state order. That would be my assumption, given the COVID crisis, and that the state of Ohio itself is operating under state of emergency as well.
Any other council members have any comments?
I agree with 100% with Dale. I mean, I'm sitting here, I've other than my council check, I haven't had a paycheck in 2 months.
I think at this point,
Yeah.
we will show the citizens that we are attempting to do something. If the state shuts us down over it, then so be it. But we have at least tried.
We have to stand up for our residents. They're the ones that put us here. We have to look out for their best interest. If they want to go to Abe's and get candles, they should be allowed to do that, rather than go to Rite Aid to get them. If they want to go get their hair cut, Lord knows I need it. No offense, Randy.
Razors are hard to come by now, so I
They
feel
should be able to do that.
Mhm.
The local business should be able to earn a living.
We got a motion and a second on the floor, don't we?
Yes.
But you want to go ahead and go through with your motion, Mr. Grimm?
If it fails, there's a certain amount of time before I can bring it up again, correct?
There is no, the motion is not going to stick. The original state of emergency says it's lifted after the mayor or myself lifts it.
No, but what he's saying is if we take a vote on what he's presented and it's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. It's not so much lift it, but just research it, I guess. I just want to be clear.
Right, if it fails, and then you find out, say in 2 or 3 days that we could do it again, we would have to wait, I think, what is it, 15 days or something before he can
Oh, I
reintroduce it.
think it's a lot longer than that.
I think it's more like 90.
Is it? I can't remember.
That's my recollection too, that it's 90 days.
It's 90.
Yeah, 90 sounds,
So 90 days, Dale.
Dale, why don't you reword it to where
You asked
Randy is to contact Jake and find out what we can and cannot do.
I don't need a motion for that. I'll do that on my own because I agree with what Mr. Grimm says and where council's headed. I just want to make sure that we're not going to get the city in any kind of liability.
Okay, so it's either we go through with a vote or you guys can retract the motion and we possibly do it again on Thursday.
Then I will withdraw my motion.
Withdraw the second.
I will tomorrow morning get on the phone with Jake, find out what we can and cannot do with the legal ramifications. Then I'll get with the mayor. If you guys want to do that state of emergency, lift it. I will politely ask that I do not get involved with it in the mayor. It goes through the mayor and goes through to the council, which will be fine. But let us get some information to you guys and we'll have it back to you by Thursday, including any kind of legislation needed to move forward.
That's great.
Preble County has also done the same thing.
They have
They've already.
Yeah.
They've already done
county
it.
itself or
They've
like,
already- They have declared all businesses in Preble County to be essential businesses.
when did they pass that legislation so they can get on their website so you can get a copy of it?
It has been within the past couple of days. It was either late last week or today. I
Okay,
think it was late last week because it was in the Dayton Daily News rag.
gotcha.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, there's a news article. I'm trying to find the original date, but the news article's posted on, well, it was posted today that they did it.
Yeah, that's what I pulled up too.
So,
Okay. And I'll do a little search tomorrow too about other cities, specifically in the state of Ohio
yeah,
that are following.
that's interesting. Thanks for pointing that out, Dale.
And thank you for sticking up for your business owners and residents. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what you guys are supposed to do. Fantastic.
Well, like I said, they're our neighbors and they are our friends.
Yeah, they did it last Friday.
Friday?
Last
Okay.
Friday, Miss Eggleston, Nokowski?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get you guys some information. Not a problem.
Anything else before we wrap up? All right. Well, the motion to adjourn,
Adjourn.
Second,
Miss Eggleston, I guess,
okay.
was a tie.
All right, Vice Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Mayor Lowry,
Yes.
Councilman Grimm,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noakowski,
Yes.
Councilwoman Eggleston.
yes.
That is accepted.
All right.
5-0.
Thank you very much, Ms. Berner, and everyone.